Good evening and welcome to Bronx Talk. On October 11th, 1994, 28 years ago last week, Bronx Talk debuted on BronxNet television as the borough's first TV talk show. And in the last 28 years, we've done 1,360 programs covering every topic that we can think of that would serve the people of the Bronx. So far, I've moderated more than 90 political debates, interviewed 3 mayors, 5 borough presidents, countless elected officials, and hundreds of Bronx people who've been involved in important Bronx issues. We've been blessed with great producers and so many young technicians who've not only worked on our show, but have gone on to forge their own professional careers. It's been a total joy for me to serve my hometown in this way, and happily, we're still turning out programs every single week with no sign of slowing down. Tonight, we're going to celebrate some of that legacy by reaching back into our archives and show you some of the highlights of Bronx Talk from its first day in October 1994 through the first 20 years until about 2014. Fans of the program will recall there are some of the clips that we showed on our 20th anniversary special, which was 8 years ago. In this first highlight reel, we're going to focus on politics, including then Mayor Giuliani, the late Guy Villela and Herman Badillo, 3 different borough presidents, and even a segment from a show we did when we brought former borough president Ruben Diaz Jr. together with his father, Senator Ruben Diaz Sr. So let's take a look.
I'm not bored with my job, and I'm not looking for upward mobility. I happen to think being borough president of this borough is a terrific job. If I decide to run for mayor, it will be because I feel that something has to be done to get the city back on track, and I can make a difference in making that happen.
At what point will the city be able to comply with the courts, comply with regulations, and move homeless families in?
The court order is unrealistic. It has been all through the Dinkins administration.
Although it is the law.
But it's unrealistic. The law can be
a
unrealistic.
criminal who commits a crime and says, well, that law is unrealistic.
Yeah, but these are not, that's a very unfair thing to say. These are not criminal laws. These are like the things that judges do who run prisons and say that we had a judge tell us that we had to spend $450 million to build a facility so that the food would be warmer on Rikers Island. That was the law, but it was wrong. And we went back to court and we got it changed. So every pronouncement of a judge, although you do the best that you can to follow it, every pronouncement of a judge is not the law in the sense that it's a criminal act if you can't comply with it.
Will New Yorkers relate to this kind of maverick approach to a mayoral candidate?
Might be. I mean, nobody has any ideas about what Mr. Bloomberg's point of view is, because he hasn't said anything other than that he wants to run for mayor, but he has not told anyone what his philosophy is, what his point of view is on education, on crime, or anything else.
It would be amazing how much you can bring people together if you just take the time to talk to people. I made a policy from the day that I got elected county leader that if anyone called my office within 24 hours, I would return the call and meet with them. I attempted to find out exactly what was it that was important to each one of the different elements.
What do people need to do, elected officials or others need to do to get your support?
The same thing that they have always done. That is, come and have a conversation with me. Tell me what it is you're looking for. And I might at a given moment ask you, well, why should I support you? I challenge anyone, even those who have differences with me, to state with me, where have they ever had a difference with me that I never listened?
I believe that the county leader last year really blew up the unity in the Bronx Democratic Party by trying to oust an incumbent congressman who was obviously very popular in his district, and he also opposed the nomination of another candidate for state senate who was the first person to step forward in years to run against Guy Villela.
See, one of my opponents keeps making this distinction. This is a Democratic district and we ought to have a Democrat. And I really reject that idea that you lead people and you represent people by dividing them by names and calling each other who's a Republican, who's a Democrat.
Investigators from the Manhattan District Attorney with search warrants went to his law firm, took certain records. Villela, who was in Albany at the time, told his staff to cooperate fully. What the records involved, I do not know. and it's Valella's privilege not to say it.
There is something wholly wrong about these people that want to control voting and the political process as though it's a franchise that they own.
A former Senator Espada is undoubtedly going to claim that this is a political hit. The investigation into his finances, which apparently has been done over a period of 2 years, was an extensive investigation purely designed to keep him out of office. And what's your response to that?
It's not so. I mean, I spent, I guess it's 23 years now building up a reputation in the legal community, and I would not give that up for an indictment for Pedro Espada.
One investigation revealed that there were 9 people registered to vote from your apartment, and then your denial of that raised the interest of the Bronx DA on potential perjury charges because they said some of the 9 were people that you had to know. They were yours and your girlfriend's relatives. Explain to me what that situation
definitely.
is.
I mean, and this is something that happened last year because of my opposition at the time, raised those issues. I actually brought it up to court. I mean, to the Board of Elections. We actually beat the case at the Board of Elections. They appealed the case. We actually also beat the appeal. And the last thing they did, took it to the Bronx DA. I mean, it was something that I understand that the Bronx DA has an obligation to investigate if something is raised, in that matter. But again, this is all allegations, and it was never a fact, and it was never proven.
An elected official, an incumbent, is asking for considerable support from the county, and then it becomes embarrassing because you support somebody like Efrain Gonzalez or Pedro Espada, and then it's unveiled that they've done some of the worst things in elected officials.
But like I said, Gary, there's been instances where people have been accused of things and it hasn't been true. So what I'm saying is it's not elected officials' jobs to be the police and the investigators and the district attorney of other elected officials.
I am disappointed in the actions of Senator Klein. I do not believe that they make us stronger as Democrats. I believe that we need to deal with our issues inside the family, and that if that's the best way to deal with them as opposed to going off and doing something separate. Disappointed in his actions, and I obviously think that we need to be stronger as Democrats, and we should do that together.
Are there things you disagree on? I mean, fathers and sons in general have things they don't agree on.
No,
and I can't believe political.
He has been in Albany for 7 years, and he knows the ins and outs of Albany. When I got to Albany, I got only 6 months. I got there in January. He was instrumental in letting me know where the hotel.
My primary focus will be job creation. We have a great opportunity to seriously look at the Kingsbridge Armory, which is an eyesore, which is in the city's hands. We also have the Harlem River waterfront, which presents a real opportunity for open space and for development and for jobs.
As I went around the borough, Gary, over the last couple of months and even the last year and a half testing the waters, I see that everyone, whether you're from Riverdale, from Throsneck, Wakefield, Soundview, Port Morris, people want a cleaner borough, people want a safer borough, people want a better opportunity in the educational system for their children, and folks want a responsive government with integrity and partnerships, and that's what I want to do as I move forward.
How do you feel? Do you feel nostalgic? Do you feel sad? Do you wish you had more time? Do you, how do you personally feel?
First of all, I feel fine. I would love to have been elected the city's 108th mayor, but I've had the great gift of being the mayor of my hometown, being the borough president of the Bronx for nearly 15 years, and it has been a tremendous honor. Look, kid who grew up where I grew up with nothing, to be this borough's chief executive for as long as I had, to enjoy the confidence of its people trusting me with their neighborhoods. There is no greater gift.
Some of our most important programs over the years have been the political debates we've moderated. In this next segment, you'll see the first one we ever did back in 1994, when former Senator Jeff Klein first ran for office. Also, you'll see the famous debate when Senator Pedro Espada pulled a hatchet on his opponent. Also, you'll see Ruben Diaz Jr. as a youngster, Adolfo Carrion when he ran for borough president, and also an incredible segment when two of the competitors couldn't stop yelling at each other. Take a look.
My #1 priority, if elected to the State Assembly, of course, would be crime. But you know something? I feel at this point in time we're really not allocating and spending our crime dollars properly. One thing that I always hear about, we had it years ago, I know Mayor Giuliani mentioned it, but we haven't implemented yet, is to go back to the system of the old cop on the beat.
Every time I lead with a positive, you live up to your, well, it's just okay. It's just a matter of, he walked up here, everything's fine. You showed your plaque. I would like to give you this little, it's plastic, viewers, don't get nervous. This is the Hatchet Man Award. And this is one that you should pridefully hang up on your wall, because the fact of the matter is, every time I lead with a positive development, you lead with a negative. It's an appropriate counter because it is all you know.
There should have been an initiative and a vote for more schools and monies and a real push for a Marshall Plan. Congressman Engel's vote went to build more prisons.
You know what? We'll let everybody go around on the same question. Congressman, do you have a response to that statement by...
Well, while Mr. Seabrook has been absent for a good number of his votes and missed a lot of votes and doesn't show up for work and asks for a promotion, I've been fighting the fight for education and for the important things.
Why have you accepted both the Democratic and Republican lines in this up-and-coming election?
I've always been a Democrat, and I will always be a Democrat. I was the Democratic district leader. In fact, in 1994, I ran the field operation in the 75th Assembly District for the statewide Democratic ticket of Carl McCall, Karen Bernstein, and Mario Cuomo, which you were invisible. You disappeared. And your father.
Can you honestly say that if elected, you will stand up to your father and your brother in opposing them, and if necessary, actively fight against them on issues like these, which directly affect the 80th Assembly District?
Absolutely. I honor my father's 35 years of public service. However, I value my independence, and I've been taught to think independently.
I spent 40 days in jail because a judge in Puerto Rico decided that the sentence that they needed, that he felt was just, was 40 days in jail. I stood up for an issue that I feel is very important personally as a Puerto Rican.
I would not go to jail for it. I certainly wouldn't go to jail during the budget season.
Do the job that you're elected to do. And then advocate if you must. Protest if you must, but do it within the confines of the law.
Is that what the future of this city is using stimulus money to create construction jobs?
Well, the president's economic stimulus package specifically speaks to building our economies, building our communities for the long term.
And I'm ready for that kind of dirt
it's not dirt,
Mr.
Rivera, that's the reality.
I
ask people to go to your
You said I had the last word. He's not willing to abide by the rules here. That's the kind of person that I'm running against. A person who doesn't understand what the rules are and is willing to ignore the rules no matter what the rules are.
Mr. Rivera, you like to use monies that don't belong to you for your personal lifestyle, and shame on you when you have people in our community that can't pay their rent.
What did I say? That he was going to break the rules, that he was not going to abide by the rules, and that he wants the last word.
Take our gloves off and have a discussion.
Pure nonsense. Pure nonsense. Pure nonsense. Pure nonsense.
You should not be using
and the people that are watching
money.
this are going to listen to this and say, bah.
Mr. Rivera,
Mr. Sepulveda,
your monies, the campaign monies that you've used are given to you by the lobbyists.
Can you take control of this?
In addition to political programs, we've covered a wide range of contemporary local issues, including the building of a new Yankee Stadium, the shooting of Amadou Diallo, the construction of a water filtration plant in Van Cortlandt Park, stop and frisk, the development of a fresh direct depot in the South Bronx, and what is now the failed proposal to build an ice rink at the Kingsbridge Armory. Let's take a look.
The Yankees are a private enterprise. New York City doesn't own the Yankees. It's a private enterprise. If you make a mistake about that and you start playing the political games that some people play, you could lose the Yankees from all of New York.
Gary, let's not use euphemisms. The mayor was talking about me, borough president.
All right.
Now, if by that he means that I'm not on my knees to George Steinbrenner, he's absolutely right. If by that he means that every time George Steinbrenner utters one of his most outrageous comments about the crime at Yankee Stadium and all the other nonsense, I don't tell the truth on behalf of the people who elected me and the city of which I am an officer, then he's absolutely right.
We've crafted a community partnership agreement that addresses all these issues, in addition to ensuring the creation of a central park, to ensuring the that the stadium and the garages are all built to the highest environmental standards that exist anywhere in the country.
And that will be in writing?
That will be in writing. That will absolutely be in writing, and it will be a signed agreement.
It's the inconvenience that those games cause the local community, the immediate community, 10 blocks radius. There's about 100 games or 100 days per year that community is actually put through a lot of changes concerning.
Such as, give me an example.
Parking.
This is a chance to bring $1.5 billion worth of economic development opportunities into the Bronx. And we would make a similar commitment in making sure that their job opportunities were linked there. So again, when you ask what this deal is, there isn't a deal. There are opportunities, and people need to discuss what are their opportunities and what are those challenges.
We chose this site at Marshall Golf Course, what involves the hauling of literally thousands and thousands of tons of dirt. And here's a company that's doing it, and now we have allegations of a connection to organized crime.
Housing court doesn't work. And we took a look at it, and the amount of time it takes. Now, sometimes there are tenants who abuse housing court because they know they're not going to pay. They stay as long as they can until the day before, and then walk out and not pay for the services that they got. But then there are landlords who try to squeeze people out by reducing services and tormenting people.
Not just in the Bronx, but citywide, we've recognized the need for more interaction with the people that we serve.
What is your evaluation of that incident when a young immigrant man was gunned down by police in a vestibule in the Soundview section of the Bronx?
Well, one runs out of adjectives and adverbs in discussing it. Outrageous, dastardly, and so it seems so inadequate. What an act! The thing that I suppose is as painful as anything else, in addition to the tragic, unnecessary loss of life of an innocent person, is the fact that you could almost see this coming.
How concerned should Bronxites be right now that there's more out there?
This is a new time, a new age for us, that we should be cautious as a nation, but I don't think we should pull back as individuals.
I think it's unfortunate that it takes these high-profile tragedies to really get the American public as a whole to come out, and this is, bipartisan. Just in general, the American people want to see this not happen again, and in that conversation, we definitely have to talk about what we're doing for mental health services and how we, look after those individuals. But at the same time, we have to look at where we are with guns in America.
Even under Commissioner Bratton, who introduced the broken window concept of policing, and under SAFER, you did not see this widespread abuse of stop and frisk.
He went from being the community police commissioner to now being the crime fighter strategy police commissioner. But in his first term, what we seemed to forget was the best source of communication, the information highway, was coming from the people themselves in the retail stores.
And so now, I don't think there's any, I'm making an assumption here that's not correct. Now there's no question that relationship certainly has fragmented.
Absolutely.
Joe Zimmerman was a person who, if I saw him, how would I know that he has any authority if he does not identify himself? So I think that we must be honest in terms of the issue, in terms of race and how it played out.
It just occurs to me that, and I hadn't thought of this before, gee, I wonder if Trayvon Martin could have used a stand your ground defense if it had gone the other way.
Growing up in Puerto Rico and the gay rights movement taking really strong position right now and gaining a lot of ground, a lot of the opposition and the vitriol and unfortunately the hatred that is being spewed are being spewed by religious leaders.
When young people go to play basketball, they don't ask, is this a faith base or not? They want to play basketball. If they want to go to after-school program and they need remedial services, they don't care if it's faith-based or not faith-based.
Bringing Fresh Direct there in their proposed plan, I don't care if they have 10 electric trucks or 100 electric trucks, or their entire fleet turns electric. It still will cause traffic congestion when you put 2,000 additional vehicles on the streets.
The Kingsbridge Armory is over 600,000 square feet of space. It's huge, and there's no reason why that space can't be creatively redeveloped in order to meet the needs of the community where it actually rests.
After-school programs, leadership programs, mentoring kids, the apprenticeship programs between Lehman and Fordham, and getting these community involved and creating jobs for the community, creating the economic impact that is sustainable for the length of the life of the building. I mean, those are things there that because we're using hockey as a vehicle, but to come into the Bronx there and be partners and create all this sustainability for the people in here and create dreams and give these kids dreams, that to me is what is interesting about this project.
It's my anniversary of my television show, so I bought myself a present. Okay, are you ready? I can't believe I bought myself one of these. I can't believe you wore this for a living. This is a freaking work of art. Are you kidding me? It took me a while to find one. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And so now I'm really hoping that you're going to. You see, he recognized right away. This is a 1994 jersey.
That's it.
Would you autograph it for me?
I would definitely autograph it.
All right, before we go, that's what we're going to do. You couldn't accurately cover the Bronx if you didn't focus on our bustling arts and culture scene that really is central to our lives. In this next segment, we'll talk to salsa great Willie Colon. We'll find out from hip-hop originator DJ Kool Herc about the very moment he discovered a new way of making music that would eventually energize the world. And also, multi-Grammy nominee Bobby Sanabria shows off a unique percussion sound. We also brought youngsters into BronxNet studios so they could make their own music. Take a look.
The thing that really flew and was the most sellable that I was a salsa band leader, and I think that scared a lot of people. Although Thomas Jefferson was a violinist, and Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Was the variety of music in South Bronx neighborhoods part of the glue in the melting pot that helped people get along? Did it kind of contribute to the general culture in addition to just being music?
It certainly helped me, for example, the different music that were being played. And then the recordings that my brother would bring to the house. Plus, my brother already, by the time I was 11 years old, he was already playing with one of the top orchestras in New York, Mr. Tito Puente.
You could see the breakdown in the record. I could hear the band tell the other member, the drummer gonna get some, the guitar gonna get some, or they're going to little solo drifts. So I used to watch this and watch particular people. I had to wait for this part of the record to come up. I said, oh, I wonder if I put all of these records back to back.
And put all those pieces back to back.
Up front, back to back, boom, boom. I call it the merry-go-round.
If you look at the history of hip-hop back in the 70s, early 70s, right when Kool Herc moved to the Bronx, conditions there were horrible. Buildings were being burnt down by the landlords. The landlords were collecting the insurance money. So it just had a ripple effect all throughout the South Bronx. If you remember in 1973, there was a lot of rubble. There was a lot of abandoned buildings. People were moving out.
I really don't want to start quoting "It's like a jungle out there." It makes me
It was a jungle. It was hard.
Did it have an effect on people? When they heard white lines, did they do more or less cocaine?
Well, that's up for debate. I know at first I did more.
Junior robotics thing?
First Robotics also sponsor another competition for junior high school kids and elementary kids. It's First Lego League, and the objective is the same as ours, but they built the robot out of Legos.
Then there is something I think is fantastic because it's a great value. It's $20.
Okay.
And it is my little baby doll. Why don't you hold it?
I'll hold up. It'll be my pleasure if she's going to spit up or something. I'm wearing a suit here.
She's warm.
Now, why is this baby and doll?
She's an unbelievably soft baby doll.
It is unbelievably
soft.
This is one that's actually been in an exhibit with a tiger, and you could see all these these scratches. These are just from
these
their
scratches
neck.
are from the tigers.
From a Siberian tiger.
That's pretty amazing.
That's how hard. And it's reasonably heavy. I don't know exactly how. And you attach it to at least 230 pounds.
Right.
So
which has been broken.
I didn't warm up yet. Oh, this is
Bring
the
the feet back a
stupidest.
little bit more. There you go. Get the knee under. Push it over. All right.
I wasn't really good at science mostly, but as I started getting, was in band, and they said I had to keep my grades up. I started excelling in science, and I started learning permanent.
Could I put you on the spot and ask you to just play a couple of notes? Play something. Go ahead. Go.
How about
This is an instrument that we use in our culture, especially Afro-Cuban culture. It's a religious instrument, actually, called she kere, but it's been adapted to the secular world, and it's a combination of a drum and a shaker.
Well, there you go. Before we close our 28th anniversary show, I want to thank our great producers, Stephen Powell and Rebecca Hemick, for their talent and dedication to the program and to BronxNet. Also, thanks to Director Benaiah War and to the many crew members who have worked on our program over the years. What we're going to do is leave you with this special highlight that goes back to July of 1997, when we took some original doo-wop singers and brought them back to the park bench in Marseilles, where they used to get together and sing in the 1950s and 60s. It was a special moment then, as it is now, 28 years later. So on those Bronx notes, we'll say, you can be sure that we'll be back in the new Bronx Talk next week.
Back to me and say, darling, I was wrong. I was wrong, my dear. I would be happy as a lark singing in a tree. If you would only come back to me and say, let's start all over again. First you lied, then you cried.
You gave me a song and dance.
Oh, my darling, how I love you. You leave me standing in a trance. Oh, now you are gone, leaving me with yesterday's memories. How I wish I could say to you, my dear, take back your yesterday's memories. Oh, now you are gone, leaving me with yesterday's memories. I wish I could say to you, my dear, take back your yesterday.